The U.S. trucker convoy is coming, and Joe Biden will ignore the protests at his peril, writes Liz Peek for The Hill. They are coming. The U.S. honkening will happen. Now, Facebook is trying everything in their power to shut it down. GoFundMe apparently now is refunding people's donations. This is getting crazy. But I think the desperation shows that the great honkening is winning. Now, here's what's funny. We were told by, I think it was Julie Kelly we had on Timcast IRL, and she said, just wait until they try smearing them with QAnon or whatever. Oh, yeah. From the Daily Mail, Facebook removes page promoting Freedom Convoy in D.C. after GoFundMe started returning $8 million in donations for Canada protest. Fears donation site run by CEO who once lobbied Congress for COVID aid payments has sided with Trudeau. Check this out. Facebook removed the Convoy to D.C. 2022 Facebook group on Wednesday for repeatedly violating our policies around QAnon. Oh, they actually did it! Journalist Julie Kelly with the grand slam predicting that one. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. They're trying to smear the convoy protest, a worker uprising against fascism, against government rule by decree. They're saying QAnon. Oh, man, they're running scared. You know, up in Canada, watching these videos of people dancing in the street, huge crowds, horns blaring, and the Karens. And what's a male Karen, a Stan or something? People say Kyle. I don't know if that's right. But they're all freaking out. There's that video of that guy, and he's like, I can't sleep, me. You haven't lost any of your freedoms. These people are happy to sit back as the government stomps all over the little guy. But then the moment you come out and say, I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore, they say, shut up. Let them do. No. Nah, I'm not playing that. Look, I think anyone who knows who's been paying attention knew or could have predicted this. Facebook will take you down. GoFundMe will take your money. Don't use these platforms. Don't. Rumble exists. But in terms of a group for organizing, I don't know. Facebook really is one of the easiest ways to do it. So you just got to try and find other ways. Rumble's not a group organization thing. You can get your videos up. That's more in reference to YouTube censoring live streams from this. Let me just break this down real quick. YouTube is censoring live streams from the great honkening. The government is trying to smear them as far-right racists. Not working. Facebook takes down the U.S. Freedom Convoy's page. GoFundMe is trying to take their money. The government of Canada, of Ottawa specifically, said they wanted to file legal proceedings to seize the GoFundMe money. It ain't yours. You can't do it. They are panicked. They are desperate. Ladies and gentlemen, the great honkening is winning. Now, before we get started, I want to give a shout out to timcast.com. If you haven't already, head over to timcast.com, become a member if you want to directly support our work as we make more videos like this, as we produce on-the-ground reporting. We're not too far from DC. If this convoy comes, we're going to have an on-the-ground reporter. We're going to be producing these live streams. We are going to be getting that job done. As a member, you'll get access to exclusive Timcast IRL, uncensored podcast segments. But I wanted to shout out this. Go to timcast.com, click store, and you can get your free HONK t-shirt. It's modeled after the free Hong Kong flag. Okay, so Hong Kong, the place, by China, and then honk, as in the protest. Some people thought I was saying Hong Kong. It's kind of confusing. That's kind of the point, free honk. We also have stickers. You can put these stickers wherever you'd like, on your property. These stickers that say free honk with the Canadian flag. And we also have hoodies. So if you want to support the message of the great honkening, people will see this. They'll ask you what it's all about. And if you want to directly support our work, you can do it here. And it is greatly appreciated for, everybody who is supporting us. But I will always say this, too. If you really want to support the movement, make sure you're supporting them because GoFundMe is taking their funds, or at least it's being reported they are. So if you're more interested in supporting the movement, please do so. Buying, this stuff, I don't want in any way detract from the good work that the great honkening is accomplishing. So let's read this news we've got from the Daily Mail. Facebook removed a page used by American truckers to organize a convoy to Washington, D.C. after GoFundMe began refunding the $8 million. It's $10 million in donations, by the way. collected for a freedom convoy protesting Canada's COVID-19 mandates. Meta, the social media platform's parent company, told Fox News the convoy to DC was removed for repeatedly violating our policies around QAnon. Oh, man, I love it. These spineless losers. Let me tell you a story, my friends. Most of you know I come from but humble beginnings, and I know a lot of rich people. When I was growing up in Chicago, I traveled around, got out of my neighborhood. I was skateboarding quite a bit. And doing so, you meet a lot of people. It's really interesting how this works out. Some poor kid from the South Side goes skateboarding, goes to a skate park, meets other skateboarders. This connects me with more suburban people. I meet some wealthier people. I met a lot of people working the jobs that I had in Chicago and traveling around. And I met a lot of kids who were growing up really rich. They were growing up fairly wealthy, top 1% types. They would talk about how they would just max out their credit cards and then didn't care anyway because their parents paid it off. And so they would just do whatever they wanted. And I was like, man, these people, they take whatever they want. They don't care because they can just pay for it. It's gross. It is. Well, these people inherited these systems. These are the people of Silicon Valley. They are the weak men we were warned about in the Strauss-Howe generational theory. And I mean men, as in more of a figurative way. Obviously, there's men and women involved. But these are the children who grew up weak and pathetic, who don't know how to deal with this. It's quite simple. If you want the honking to stop, you need only comply. Shut down the mandates. DC's got mandates. I don't know how people do it. But I'll tell you, man, even from like whatever their stated goal is, from the perspective of these elites, it's amazing how stupid they are, how just mind-numbingly stupid the elites are. Unless, of course, they want more protests. So I sit here as but a humble internet man complaining. And I say, they're so dumb. Look how dumb they are and all that stuff. Well, that's because my assumption is they want to shut down the trucker protest. They want to prevent it from happening. Maybe the reality is it's actually a bit more circuitous than that. And the elites want the trucker protest to happen as an excuse to bring in self-driving trucks and create a supply chain crunch for the Great Reset. But they can't just do it. So what do they want? They need to make it seem like the truckers coming in is bad for them. And they're like, no, stop. So they do things that generate massive press, don't actually stop anything, piss more people off. I don't actually believe that conspiracy theory. That would be absurd. The idea that they're failing on purpose to make the movement bigger because it suits their needs is just giving them too much credit. The reality is they're very obviously scared and offended and angry with these convoys. They're disruptive to their legislative agendas. And so they're trying to stop them. But they're so dumb, like some of the stupidest people. They can't figure out how to do it. It's so remarkable how bad they are at this. I put it this way. It's like watching, the old trope of, guy starts a business and then actually, here's a good example, like an old mafia movie where the mob boss is like, my son Tony will inherit the family business, but Tony's a moron. And they're like, the kid doesn't know how to be the mafia guy. And so they're like trying to, you know what? Actually, here's a good example, Kick-Ass, where the dude played by Christopher Mintz-Plasse or whatever, the mother effer was his name. He's like a little loser dude who's not going to be able to actually run his dad's mob business. This is what it is. These elites, they figured out how to control the system. They figured out how to gain power. They're titans of industry. They've built businesses, and now their children have inherited it. And those kids didn't build it, and they didn't know what they were doing. Now we're on to the third generation of wealth. Their grandkids have no idea what's going on. And they're like, if these people are going to drive trucks to DC, just ban them on Facebook and then it'll go away. Have you even stopped to think for 2 seconds before doing this? Again, unless, of course, it was their intention to make a big news story about this and piss everybody off to make the protest bigger, which I don't think is the case. I suppose it could be, but then you're just playing a weird game of like, well, maybe it's actually one step beyond then. Let's read more. Trucker Jeremy Johnson, who established the group, claims his personal Facebook account was also removed, prompting him to contact a civil rights attorney about his options moving forward. It's censorship at its finest, he said. They like to silence people that speak truth. Similarly, the crowdfunding account supporting the Canadian Freedom Convoy, which has raised 10 million Canadian dollars. Oh, okay. That I didn't understand. I thought it was 10 million US. It's 10 million Canadian dollars. Was suspended for a second time on Wednesday. GoFundMe said they needed to ensure the account complies with its terms of service. Yeah, I don't trust them, to be completely honest. They say the suspension has prompted fears about the company's motives as more than 200 truckers and other vehicles have blockaded the downtown roads in Canada's capital since last Friday. Yo, they're going on a week. It's been a week. This is amazing. Political analysts allege the trucking protests, which have split the official opposition Conservative Party, stand to benefit Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Liberals, posing some to question if GoFundMe has sided with the Canadian leader. Wait. They're saying that the trucking protests, it'll benefit Trudeau? I don't know about that. People are angry. The crowdfunding site, however, maintains the suspension is to ensure the funds are going to be to the intended recipients. Although some donors reportedly received emails on Thursday, they were being refunded, but were given no explanation as to why. GoFundMe CEO Jeff Cadigan, who last year urged the U.S. government to pass emergency COVID-19 aid, has not publicly commented on the Freedom Convoy fundraiser, although he has previously argued the nonprofit has a responsibility to society, and so we prohibit the promotion of misinformation or the promotion of hate or discrimination, or using a campaign to bully someone or discriminate, blah, 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 blah. I love watching the desperate manipulation. You go on Facebook, you go on Reddit, and they're like, these are far-right white supremacists. It's like, yo, they're truckers. Like, what are you talking about? Do you think the people who deliver your food are like evil white supremacists all the time, everywhere? I love the desperate attempts from like Trudeau and these leftists where they're like, I want to thank all of the truckers who are out there doing their jobs because these people don't There's 50,000 truckers, dude. Wake up. But I don't care. I literally do not care what the cult thinks. I don't. They're morons. And you know what? Half of them probably not even real people anyway. Sock puppet accounts. You know, maybe not half, but when I see these posts on Reddit and they're like, I'm a regular working class person and I oppose the truckers. I'm like, shut up. No, you don't, you moron. Look, there are companies that are hired to go on Reddit and AstroTurf. And that's the reality. It's hard to know how many of the people are actually doing it, but the idea is if they can flood all of the top comments with their opinions, then stupid people will be like, well, if I want to fit in, I better say the thing everyone else is saying. I think it's just not working anymore. Because I can tell you this, I just don't care. They're like, Tim Pool has Jack Posobiec on his Timcast IRL frequently. Yeah, Jack's cool, dude. You don't have to agree with everything he says, but as long as I've known him, cool dude. Have him on the show. We invite him on periodically. Oh, no, but he's a liar and he's this, that, or else. I don't care, man. You know, people say things, people do things. So long as I host someone. Look, if I bring someone on the show and they say or do something that I think is bad, I'll be like, I didn't like that. I would not like to welcome them back on the show. But Jack comes on, he talks about politics, and it's fairly normal. They want to cancel people. They want to convince people like me not to associate with people like Jack. Human events and things like that. That's where he does his podcast. Yeah, sorry, it's not going to happen. We have a lot of people. We had Steve Bannon. We have Alex Jones. We'll have him on again. We have Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're going to have her on again. Go ahead. Do your worst. I just don't care anymore. Write whatever stupid garbage. Fine. If it's defamation and it's actionable, I'll sue you for it. But if you want to come out with this stupid trash, smearing and lying, QAnon truckers, shut your mouth. I just don't care. You know, if they actually went out and they were waving Q flags, I wouldn't care either. I don't. It's truckers. They don't all know everything everyone else does, and I don't care. These are the people. The people aren't all Ivy League scholars who think they're better than you. They're just regular people. And you know what? The people have the power. So watching their desperate attempts, too bad. Because I just don't care anymore. You know, it used to be that they would try and call you a racist to scare you because you're like, no, I'm not. Yeah, we know now. We've learned our lesson some time ago. When someone comes out and they're like, the truckers are racists, and I'm like, no, they're not. It just, you have no credibility. Brian Stelter has like zero credibility. If I'll tell you this, Rachel Maddow has negative credibility. Brian Stelter has negative credibility. If I saw a homeless guy on the street and he looked at me and was like, you know what I heard? I heard that Joe Biden is a robot. I'd be like, really? Where did you hear that? And like the point is, obviously I wouldn't really believe him. But the point I'm trying to make is that a random homeless man on the street ranting and raving about absurdities is more credible than CNN, especially with this massive implosion that's happening, So I just, they can come out all day and night. They can say the truckers are QAnon. Yo, who cares? We just don't, you've lost control of the narrative. You've lost the microphone. Your policy plans are trash. We all know it. You push too hard, you idiots. The people who are trying to run this country, the business leaders and the politicians, are some of the stupidest human beings we've ever had the misfortune of having live on this planet. Can I tell you? There could be, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I take that back. I guess we're fortunate they're dumb as a box of rocks. Like Nancy Pelosi, talk about a moron. Just some of the stupidest people ever. I don't care for these people. I don't care to talk to these people. I think they're evil. I think they're despicable. But, I am grateful for them to a certain degree. Because I actually was just thinking about, what if we had smart despots? Whew. Then they'd actually figure out ways to shut down these protests. But thank heavens, these morons don't know what they're doing. I want to talk to you about what's going on with the economy. Because I reported on this. U.S. businesses shed 301,000 jobs in January, ADP says. Its biggest drop since the start of the pandemic. And then we have this story from the next day. Payrolls show surprisingly powerful gain of 467,000 jobs. Or they don't say jobs, but 467,000 in January despite Omicron surge. This is the amazing thing. It's payroll. Is it the same thing as jobs? They go on to say it's good jobs news. There was more good jobs news. So you've got one report basically saying that jobs are up. One report saying jobs are down. One's from ADP. One is, it's the non-farm payroll. So the Labor Department, government versus private businesses. So you choose what you want to believe, I guess. But it is confusing for regular people. None of this matters, though. And I just wanted to highlight this because I was talking about the loss in jobs and now it's being reported as a huge gain. So I think it's fair to make sure I mention that, right? But none of this really matters. Look at the image they use in this article. Now hiring cooks, sushi chefs, dishwashers, bartenders, servers, expanding our operating hours. This is a report here from marketwatch.com. And the reality is people can see it. They can feel it. They don't like it. So it doesn't matter what they're going to say is happening. It doesn't matter what they claim is happening. Joe Biden's trying to go to war and send our kids off, or your kids off to die of kids. They want to send friends and family members off to literally go die. I love it, man. There was a really funny video where a journalist is yelling at this, I think it's State Department. I can't remember who it is. And he's like, are you seriously claiming, Russia engaging in false flags? Crisis actors? Really? This is Alex Jones level stuff. And I was just loving it. And they were like, we've released a report. He's like, no, you haven't. And he's like, we have the transcript. So he's like, yeah, of you saying something. And then he's like, you told us the same thing about WMDs in Iraq. And I'm just like, whoa. Maybe I'll cover that in the next segment. The point is, the morons who run everything, they've lost control of it. Good. Part of me is worried that China will take over. And what that means for the rest of the world, it'll probably be bad. But I've been to many other countries, and I got to tell you, if in America we got knocked down a peg or two, we were not the global elites that America wants to be, the global superpower. We couldn't get, free oil because we control the petrodollar. I don't care. I literally don't. You know who's going to freak out? The urban liberals. They're going to lose their minds. Now, me, I have no problem rolling up my sleeves, going out to the chicken coop, collecting eggs. I got no problem doing any of that. In fact, I got to be honest, it's enjoyable. It seriously is. It's fun to go out and see the chickens do their chicken stuff. They run around, little morons. They play rugby with bugs when they find one. It's fun. It's fun doing basic work. And we got a bunch of chickens. We get like 8 eggs per day. It's like so much eggs. You just eat them. It's amazing. The chickens basically eat dirt and bugs and they turn it into eggs. It's incredible. Anyway, my point is, The luxury of the United States is greatly predicated upon our international superpower status. And it seems to be waning because the people who inherited this country are some of the stupidest people on the planet. If in the end, their failures result in us shoring up our borders, building up our infrastructure and industry in this country, it meant we had to do more work for each other. It meant the cost of goods went up because because we need American-made goods, and so that meant people are getting paid more. And you know, if we were working for each other, I'm totally fine with it. I like working. It's the urban liberal types who are going to cry and vomit on themselves when they realize writing an article for BuzzFeed does not benefit society in any way. And if we do lose that status, they're going to have to actually get real jobs. You know, plumbing. Oh, heavens. The jobs they think are beneath them. Yeah. So this vision the elites have, they've squandered it. They've failed. And you know what? It's their own damn fault. Trucker protests, shout out, keep up the good work. DC trucker protest apparently is planned. We're only about an hour from DC, so we'll definitely be covering it. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all then.